If I were paid enough, would I kill Kate Argent? Girl, I'd kill her for free.
Malira, sounds like the best disease you could have.
You gotta seize that day. Your next girlfriend could die tomorrow.
Folks, it's the beginning of a new season. That means I'm sitting in the corner.
Get Hecklin, get JR, get Ian. I'll do it. I'll get in a pink, purple Barney suit, and I'll dance around if I'm working with people I love.
Just being able to find so much joy in Teen Wolf.
Welcome to Return to Beacon Hills, a Teen Wolf Rewatch podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kate Colvin, and I'm joined by
Will Wallace
and Closa Mullis.
Every episode we'll be watching and talking about the hit MTV series one episode at a time. And now we're talking about Season 4, Episode 1, The Dark Moon, which is the opener of Season 4. It also has the same initials as the Season 3B finale, The Divine Move.
I did not notice that.
Me either.
If you're watching Teen Wolf for the first time and you're worried about spoilers, have no fear. This podcast is broken up into two sections, Alpha and Beta. The beta section is for first-timers who are just now finding this awesome series and don't want to be spoiled about what's to come. The second section, Alpha, is where we go full spoilers and talk about not just the current episode, but the entire Teen Wolf series, as well as its place in the fandom. In the show notes of your podcast app of choice, you'll find time codes for the Alpha and Beta sections. If you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at RTBH Podcast. There, our Wolfie patrons will gain access to awesome exclusives, like early access to episodes, full moon AMAs, the Beacon Hills Movie Club, where we watch and provide commentary for movies starring the amazing cast of Teen Wolf and featuring the work of our talented crew, as well as guest video interviews and a monthly watch party. So head on over to patreon.com/RTBH podcast and join the pack. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RTBH Podcast and Tumblr and TikTok at Return to Beacon Hills. If you'd like to ask us questions or offer suggestions for future topics to discuss, you can email us at returntobeaconhills@gmail.com.
This episode is entitled The Dark Moon. It was written by Jeff Davis and directed by Russell Mulcahy. In this episode, Scott finds shell casings belonging to the Calavera hunting clan in Derek's loft, so the pack goes to Mexico in hopes of rescuing him. The Calaveras use less than ideal methods to help Scott figure out who really took Derek. Malia hones her super hearing and, along with Kira, has a run-in with a monster. Stiles and Lydia struggle to fix the broken-down Jeep. Scott reconnects with a mercenary from the pack's past who can lead him to Derek, but what he finds at the destination shocks everyone, especially Stiles.
Yeah. Malia and Kira, fun fact, also have a run-in with Sexy. So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's a good run-in.
Yeah,
Sexy, they're both intimately familiar with her.
Our favorite quote for the episode comes from a conversation between Kira, Malia, and Stiles. Kira says, "Is that what you would do as a coyote? Leave her for dead?" Malia responds, "If she was weak and injured, yeah. If hunting had been bad that season, I would eat her. Then I'd leave." And Stiles caps it all off with, "Believe it or not, that's progress."
And
it's
that's
fun.
all we ask for.
That is all we ask for, progress. We have a couple of honorable mentions as well. This one's between Lydia and Stiles. Lydia says, "We are going to die," to which Stiles replies, "Are you saying that as a banshee or just being pessimistic?" Lydia says, "I'm saying it as a person who doesn't want to die." Good stuff from Lydia there.
Mm-hmm.
Our next honorable mention is with Brayden, Lydia, and Stiles. Brayden says, "Right now, I'm the only one who's going to take you to La Iglesia." Lydia responds, "The church?" Stiles says, "What's the church?" And Brayden says, "It's not a place you'll find God." Great line.
Yeah,
Very
I like that
good.
line. It sounded so mysterious.
Yeah, very good.
Well, you know how Teen Wolf does mysterious very well.
We do.
True.
We do. We had the market cornered on mysterious. And then our last honorable mention is between Scott and Brayden. Scott asks, "If you were paid enough, would you kill her?" Her being Kate Argent. And Brayden replies, "If the money was good, I'd kill you."
If I were paid enough, would I kill Kate Argent? Girl, I'd kill her for free.
Yeah, she's bad. she's like Nazis. It's free. It's a
free.
freebie. No one's
It's a
gonna fight
freebie.
you. No one well, I mean, Republicans will fight you, but
Yeah,
no one's
let's
gonna
move
fight you
on.
on Kate Argent. So 'cause she's
Even
a
Chris at this
monster.
point probably wouldn't fight her for Kate.
Yeah, I think you'd be like, "That's a bummer," but I mean,
Everyone
had to
already
be
thought she was
done.
dead. Does it really count?
I'd already
to kill
been
her
through
second time?
grief.
Double jeopardy.
yeah, exactly. I'd already
Do what you
been
gotta
there
do.
emotionally and gotten through it. So, I mean, a bullet to the head. Whatever. I just won't be there for it. But there you go.
The episode starts with Lydia and Stiles in Mexico.
You can tell we're in Mexico because everything is blown out. That's how it is in Mexico. The hair, the images, everything's blown out.
It's very dusty.
Yeah, that is a very strong yellow tint. Sepia, one might even say. Looks like it's 1895 out here.
How else would you know they're in another country?
It's a lot, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, in all seriousness, if I ever created a show that went to Mexico, none of this. Not gonna happen.
Lydia looks so cute in this scene, though.
She really, really does. She looks adorable.
Oh, I love the circular braid.
Yeah, that's how they did my hair when we were on set as extras, and they were like, pretend to be a high schooler. You know,
I remember that.
braids.
It's a great style. But this whole look, the ruffly skirt with the moto jacket and knee-high boots, it's just cute.
Yeah, I think I actually bought that skirt when you guys were selling off costumes at the end of the show.
Nice.
Lydia worries that this is their worst plan yet, but without another clear option, they go ahead with it. She and Stiles approach a mysterious club where they flash what looks like a uniquely styled playing card at the door to gain entry.
I remember sitting in Ed Abrams' office watching a cut of this with Jeff and all the writers. It was a lot of fun.
Stiles and Lydia look awfully surprised that they closed the front door behind them.
Yeah, we did not account for this very basic part of the plan.
Yeah, Lydia did say it was a terrible plan.
That she did. They head into the main part of the club, full of people dancing.
Hey, fun fact, I think the DJ we had for this scene was Skrillex.
I almost made that joke, but I decided against it.
I will never decide against it.
Never forget that time Will told Calista they had Skrillex on set because he thought all electronica DJs were Skrillex.
Wait, more than one person has this job?
That is not true. They are all Skrillex. It is nice to see how almost everyone in Mexico dances shirtless, just like in Beacon Hills.
Yeah, it's really no different than any of the Beacon Hills raves, I've got to say.
Although I think this venue looks better than all of the Beacon Hills venues.
Oh, you got a problem with Derek's loft now?
That's probably how Scott realized Derek had been missing. He went there to have a party. He's like, wait, Derek isn't here to yell at me.
Why is no one here getting mad that I totally trashed his habitation?
Derek must be in danger. In the rave, the bartender gives them 2 free shots, which they don't drink. Severo, one of the Calavera hunters, tells them most American teenagers don't cross the border just to refuse a drink. Lydia says they didn't come to drink, dropping a shell casing into her shot glass.
We came for his boyfriend.
And he's really starting to get on my nerves with the listing off everything that he misses. So if we can speed this up, that'd be great.
Severo takes Stiles and Lydia into a back room where they find this hunting clan's leader, Araya Calavera.
Oh, there's
Oh
a
my
ring
God.
dagger on the desk. I think Isaac must have been here.
Wow. When Daniel Sharman left the show, I thought we would stop getting these jokes, but
Never.
yeah, I'm just not that lucky.
Lydia proposes a simple ransom. Stiles puts $50,000 on the table in exchange for Derek.
Aww, they brought money for Derek.
Araya asks if they got this money from the Japanese mafia.
Will it make this situation better if I say yes?
We did a lot of door dashing for this, so
Yeah, a lot.
Araya then chastises them for coming alone. Stiles asks what made her think they had come alone.
because she'd met him before and he has terrible plans.
Yeah. On and around the dance floor are Malia with her blue eyes, Kira with her orange eyes, and Scott with his alpha red eyes.
How hard is it to keep track of some glowing-eyed teenagers entering your club?
Just look for the ones vamping for the non-existent cameras.
Yeah, why are you posing? For whose benefit is this, Scott?
Or any of them.
Or any of
Yeah.
them? But I feel like Scott's was the most dramatic.
It was the most dramatic with
It
that
yeah.
head tilt up. Yeah, great.
I mean, I loved it, but dramatic as hell.
This reveal takes us into the theme sequence.
Fun fact, Shelley's credit was different at first. Originally, she was pushing open the Eichen House gates and she was wearing this long flowing dress. It was amazing, but it didn't represent the Malia character accurately, so we reshot it.
You mean once you guys finally decide to write some substance for this character?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Burn.
The season 4 credits end with a desert shot featuring a cactus.
In case you weren't clear that this season is dusty.
Featuring a lot of dusty promos. Those were so much fun.
Kira runs to Malia on the dance floor, sensing that something is happening. Malia says they need to blend in for now. Kira's at a loss. Malia says it means dancing together, dumbass.
Yeah, she definitely learned that one from Stiles pretty quick.
Wolfie's Malira is my favorite ship, so watch this scene multiple times. It's great.
Oh my god, we get into that in like this bit
Oh, do we?
Right
Oh,
here,
yeah.
right here.
I don't remember. It's awkward at first. I don't remember. It's awkward at first, but Malia soon gets Kira into it.
Well, I know this is one of your favorite scenes, as you've already said.
Yes, I know. It is. I'm a ride or die Malira fan.
Malira sounds like the best disease you could have.
It is the best disease you could have.
I'm actually sincerely mad that this dance scene between them is all we ever got of them together. What a tease.
I know, right? It's so unfair.
It is upsetting. It's not great. Much like that extra in the background who was looking directly at the camera. I see you, hombre.
I don't remember being on set that day.
Slander, implied slander. I was not looking at the camera. No, I was not looking at the camera. I was looking at the cast. Okay, so if it was me there in the scene, I'd be staring at these two hot girls dancing together, which frankly makes sense in universe. So, joke's on you.
She's right. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you got me there.
In the back room, Araya warns Stiles and Lydia of their poor timing. It's the dark moon, the part of the lunar cycle when the moon is least visible in the sky. It represents reflection, grief, and loss.
With all they've lost, Araya is surprised they'd risk it all for someone like Derek.
That's extremely rude.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Hasn't the poor guy endured enough?
Yeah.
Really?
Severo checks in with the guards via walkie-talkie. The front door and south are cleared, but north doesn't answer until Scott gets on the walkie-talkie and tells Stiles to take 10 off the table, which Stiles does.
All right, this bit's fun. This is good.
It is. I definitely like that.
Guards come after Malia and Kira on the dance floor. Kira gets out glowing nunchucks, while Malia slams her would-be attacker to the floor, and Scott tussles with a gunman.
No one else is even bothered about all the guns. Is this a typical Friday night in this club?
Hey, what happens in the club stays in the club.
They straight up dance around the falling bodies. Like,
Yes.
that's how into this music they are.
Yes, they do. Very into it.
I'm sorry, y'all tried, but nothing tops blade fighting in the club.
And some just insist on ice skating uphill.
Oh my God. Yeah, that opening was pretty fantastic. Also, this scene.
Stiles tells Araya to give them Derek, adding that they don't want him anyway because he's a downer, has no real sense of humor, and is a poor conversationalist.
Derek's entire life story is so sad that he might as well have a supervillain backstory, and instead you just get the guy's a downer.
Cut to earlier, Stiles rummaging around in the couch cushions. Sheriff comes in and asks, "What are you doing?" "I'm looking for money to save Derek. Do you mind? Also, can I get my allowance a little bit early? I only need $49,999.
Derek deserves it, though, for calling Stiles, quote, skinny, defenseless, and a hyperactive spaz.
Are those compliments or?
For Derek, yeah, those were compliments. Araya responds by telling Severo to show the pack how the Calaveras negotiate. Severo gives the signal to release a wolfsbane gas into the club. It doesn't affect the humans, but it puts the pack at enough of a disadvantage that the Calaveras capture them.
Show them how the Calaveras negotiate. We play bop for 10 hours until these people surrender.
Now I'm just picturing them being like really angry, like the Jets. You know, they're like snapping and they're really angrily going, bop,
Bop.
ba, da, ba, do,
Bop, do.
Now that'd be fun.
do.
Yay. Araya tells Scott that as an alpha of only a few months, he should be more careful going up against a hunter of 40 years.
Yeah, Lydia did say the plan was a bad one.
Scott should have just been like, 40 years? I mean, I would have guessed you weren't a day over 32.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
In a flashback, we see Scott telling the others he's worried about Derek because Derek hasn't returned any of his texts.
Flashback shading now.
Stiles asks whether Derek has ever answered Scott's text.
Better question, have you ever tried texting Derek before? What have we ever seen Scott try to get a hold of Derek that way?
So wait, does he answer your texts? I sent him so many eggplant emojis and get nothing.
Nothing.
Scott says Derek has answered him before, but the most damning part is that when Scott went to Derek's loft, he found shell casings. Deaton identified the symbol on them as that of the Calaveras.
Lydia drops the casings on Deaton's lab table and with her banshee abilities, hears Derek screaming. Seeing her reaction, Stiles asks if Derek is dead.
He seems to be the only one concerned about that possibility. Have you noticed that? Like, the others are present, but still.
Oh, I noticed that.
I'd like to see more concern all around, including him.
Lydia says Derek isn't dead, but she isn't sure he's alive either. Something isn't right.
So he's like napping?
I think he's in a dreamlike state of dreaming about Stiles, or maybe he's just Schrodinger's Derek.
Back in the present, Scott wakes up in a dingy room where the Calaveras are keeping him, Kira, Malia, and Stiles.
I believe this set is the repurposed Icon House shower set we saw in the previous season. They just took out the shower stalls and put in these sinks.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. Kira informs Scott that the Calaveras have Lydia. Scott wonders what they would want with her. Meanwhile, outside the building, Araya pours Lydia some coffee and offers a plate of fruit, cheese, and bread.
That plate looks good.
It does.
At least they're good hosts. I could go for a nice plastic croissant right now.
To test Lydia's powers, Araya asks her which of two Calavera hunters is about to die.
In the tiled room, Scott tries to pry open the metal door, keeping them in, but to no avail.
Oh, I really like Stiles' silent encouragement in the background.
Backseat driving, basically.
Yeah. Malia suggests they lay in wait until someone opens the door, then rush them and escape the building. She's not worried about Lydia, much to Stiles' chagrin.
I feel like the way Malia's standing makes it look like she's tied up to that column, that beam thing.
Because she sticks with her back to it.
Right.
I think she's just going for nonchalant, though. Just like leaning against it all casually, like a greaser or something.
Yeah, it's just like every time I go watch a scene, I'm like waiting for her to like break her bindings, but she's not actually bound.
Well, now we know that Derek is officially the only Hale who would fall on 1,000 swords to avoid leaving a man behind. Like, if you gathered up the 3 Hales in Beacon Hills and told them, if you don't fight for this person, they're going to die, and they gave them a 5-second head start, then when they turned back around, Derek would have already found a sword to fall onto. He's
already killed the person he's supposed to save and robbed the body.
And Malia's just gone.
Yeah, there's just a cloud of dust where Malia was standing.
Unless it was a bad winter, in which case she would eat them.
Yep.
Scott wonders what Araya wants from them since she didn't just kill them. The Calaveras don't seem to know where Derek is, which might mean someone else got to him.
Outside, Araya kills one of the hunters, telling Lydia that he stole from her. Next, she wants Lydia to tell her about Scott McCall and what kind of alpha he really is.
Mediocre. I mean, it's like, how do you expect a 17-year-old alpha to be? He's that.
Why does everybody know all this shit about Scott, that he's a super special alpha?
Well, they read the gang's newsletter that Stiles puts out.
There was the whole thing with Deucalion predicting that he was going to be a super special alpha. Where the fuck did that come from?
He's the chosen one. The prophecy.
Footage not found.
Araya brings Lydia to a room where the guards also have Kira, and Scott is handcuffed to a chair. Severo explains what's going to happen. Kira is going to turn the dial to electrocute Scott, since she's a fox and is immune to electricity.
Get him, Kira.
Scott's like, yeah, she's a fox. Up top. Oh, I'm chained to a chair.
We'll high five later, bro.
Kira refuses, but Severo tells her that if she doesn't comply, the Calaveras will electrocute Lydia instead.
Kira, your other hand is free. Punch him in the throat.
Yeah, it's 3 against 3. 3 humans against 3 supernaturals. If Kira takes out Severo, then it'd just be a matter of one of them holding off Araya and the other guard until the other can free Scott. Let's say Kira and Lydia, respectively.
Araya says it's a test for the Lobito. If he answers their questions, he doesn't get shocked.
I do kind of like how she calls him Little Wolf.
He should tell her that he doesn't test very well and that he has several teachers that will attest to that fact.
Scott tells Kira to do what they say. He can take it.
Araya says the Calaveras don't know where Derek is either, but they want to.
Well, look who's suddenly the most popular guy in town.
Araya says Scott knows who really took Derek.
In the tiled room, Malia uses Stiles' kisses to help her concentrate enough to cut through the other noise and listen for the others. She tells Stiles that the Calaveras are killing Scott.
Finally, with the electricity running as high as it goes, Scott does put it together with some hints from Araya. Then he breaks his chains.
Seriously, why couldn't he have done that earlier?
He wasn't feeling motivated enough.
Yeah.
Araya's just acting as his therapist, helping him get a breakthrough.
Scott realizes that Kate Argent must have been turned by the scratch that they all thought killed her. Malia hears Scott come to this realization and asks Stiles about Kate.
She's just a walking bunch of red flags. That's who she is, in short.
Yeah, with Kate, red flag means death.
But bum. Elsewhere, we see Kate in front of a stone carving, behind which is Derek, arms crossed, like he's in a coffin.
Yeah, he looks like he's role-playing as a vampire.
Now freed, Scott learns from Mariah that the Calaveras sent men to where Kate was rumored to have been seen, but none returned. She hopes Scott can do better. Scott says she could have just told him Kate was alive, and Mariah says he wouldn't have believed her.
What?
Yeah, this doesn't quite make sense.
It's so convoluted. So the Calaveras just hatched this plan when the gang showed up looking for Derek, right? Because they didn't know the gang was coming. They didn't take Derek, so they have no reason to think that the gang is going to come talk to them. They don't know that Kate attacked Derek until this happens, we assume, right? Unless they were surveilling her and then just decided to wait until Scott and the gang came and asked them about it. And then what's with the torture to get him to realize it? What makes her think he wouldn't have believed her? Especially if they went to him and said, look, we can't get to her. You try? I mean, is she trying to do a Yoda? Like a scary, torture-happy Yoda to teach Scott to tap into his intuition or something?
Hey, if you wanted to teach me a lesson, I could have just piggybacked you through the jungle.
Exactly.
Araya warns that if Scott creates a new wolf, she'll come knocking on his door. But until then, she's procured a guide to take them to where Kate was reportedly seen, Brayden.
Yeah, Stiles' face when Scott tells him about all this is exactly how I felt watching it. This is all so weird. I am excited to see Brayden again, though.
Megan Tandy in the house.
Side note, how come Stiles doesn't know who Brayden is?
Yeah, I feel like he definitely should.
Brayden will be leading the way to La Iglesia. She rides her motorcycle and the others follow in Stiles' Jeep. During the drive, Malia asks about Kate Argent. Stiles isn't sure how she could have escaped her casket, but Scott surmises that she was never in it.
Wow, that torture really upped his intuition level. Somehow that plan worked out exactly as anticipated, as weird as it was.
Yeah, that makes zero sense. Lydia tells Malia and Kira that Kate was Allison's aunt and a sociopath. Kira tells Scott that he doesn't have to talk about it now if he doesn't want to.
Why? It's not his extremely painful past. Okay, Allison is, but not the whole thing with Kate. That was some season 1 shit. We're over that.
Yeah, well over that. That was months ago. Malia says he absolutely does have to talk about it now.
Little to no patience. Her and Stiles are still working on that.
I agree with her on this. Hurry up and get everyone up to date.
Stiles finally provides the details that Kate was the one to kill most of Derek's family, besides Cora, who left, and Peter, who went crazy, and also clawed out Kate's throat, but she had it coming.
Yeah.
At least Stiles didn't talk shit about her being Derek's ex this time.
Yeah.
I forgot how many flashbacks were in this episode.
The Calaveras heard Kate had been killed by an alpha's claws. They wanted to make sure she was really dead, but they found her body was slowly healing.
I like that prosthetic on Kate, but I wish we could see bone and trachea because the claws went deep.
The MTV censors are tired. They're so tired after Teen Wolf put them through the Omega bisection of season 2.
That's true. The Calaveras switched the bodies, taking Kate with them. They decided to enforce Kate's responsibility to take her own life before she turns, according to the Hunter's Code.
So for this stuff, Araya gave Scott a quick rundown, right? Before they left, he's not just putting this together.
Yeah, I think she gave him a rundown.
Okay, do you guys think it's weird to have flashbacks to things that he got secondhand and off screen?
Yes, but I prefer this to them just having a character narrate on screen with no visual. Just seeing people expositing in the Jeep might be boring.
Yeah, Teen Wolf has done this before, too. I mean, the first time we got those flashbacks to the fire, it was when Derek was explaining it, and he got it secondhand, off screen, and 6 years prior.
True.
Yeah, that's all valid. In flashback, we see Severo throw a straight razor to Kate's cell. Kate tricked her captors by cutting her wrist, waiting for them to come in to retrieve her body, and killing half a dozen people to escape. Presumably, this is how Kate got the Calaveras shell casings that Scott found in Derek's loft.
Why did they think that slitting her wrist would even work if getting her throat cut didn't work?
I don't know.
Man, the Calaveras are 0 for 2 on doing shit that makes sense.
That's their thing as a gang, I suppose.
I get it, the code and all, but you're going to have to shoot her in the face with a shotgun.
If she has to do it herself, per the code, give her a shotgun with only 1 shot and put a camera in there. Don't come in until you see gray matter.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just super weird that they're like, well, let's just give her a weapon and come in later and see how it wins.
Right? We know they have cameras because they have cameras at other parts of the club. We see it in this episode. They're not opposed to camera technology.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just hate how incompetent it makes them seem as a gang of hunters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, were they just really trying to do like, oh, it's because she was a fellow hunter? Like, had they not heard she was cray cray?
I was going to say, like, they've clearly done a lot of research into everything that's going on in the supernatural/hunter world of Beacon Hills, and they don't know anything about Kate Argent and what she's like. Kira asks if Kate is a werewolf now, but Scott remembers Derek's words that sometimes the shape you take reflects the person you are. Lydia wonders what the shape is for a sociopathic bitch.
The Jeep hit something, taking it out of commission. Braden says they need to get to La Iglesia before night. Stiles tells Scott to go ahead without them. Someone needs to find Derek.
It's really important. Just go. TikTok. Where is he, Scott?
I'm a little surprised that he trusts Scott to do it by himself, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Stiles should have been like, I can sit behind you, sitting behind Braden. We can do 3 on that bike.
Kira tells Scott to be careful, even though she thinks that sounds lame, and she'll think of something better as soon as he's gone.
Well, he has a phone. You can text it to him, unless you didn't spring for international minutes.
You know they didn't. That costs money.
That's true. They saved the $50,000 for ransom money. Although, doesn't Lydia have money?
Doesn't Lydia have money? That is the question. The show conveniently forgets about that stuff sometimes.
It's true.
As soon as Braden and Scott leave, Malia finds a giant claw in one of the Jeep's tires, leading her to conclude that they didn't hit something. Something hit them.
Scott and Braden arrive at La Iglesia.
I love how all this looks so arid and different climate-wise from the rest of the show, when really it's just 10 miles north of LA.
La Iglesia is an old church, now mostly unused, surrounded by a town that was leveled by an earthquake.
The locals think the church is still standing because of what's underneath it, the ruins of an Aztec temple belonging to a people called the Nawal, who were were-jaguars.
This is basically a fancy way of doing Indian burial ground.
Yeah, Stephen King called and wants his cultural appropriation back.
It is.
Quick note, Wolfies, Nawal is actually a shapeshifter in indigenous Mesoamerican lore and ancient religion, but it isn't specific to jaguars. It's a person who can shapeshift into their tonal animal or the animal with which they have a spiritual link. Jaguars were a major one, though. In fact, according to the Gods and Symbols of Ancient Mexico and the Maya, an illustrated dictionary of Mesoamerican religion, Tezcatlipoca was an important god in the Aztec religion, and his Nawal was a jaguar.
Y'all remember that show Manimal about the guy who could turn into multiple animals? He was like a super Nawal.
I remember Animorphs.
It was called what?
Manimal. He's a man and an animal.
Oh my God.
Manimal.
Wow.
Embarrassed by that. I don't even know what this is. Braden can't be sure that Kate and Derek are at La Iglesia, however. She's never gotten this far before.
What?
Why not?
Are there normally were-jaguars running the perimeter?
Were the roads closed, lady?
She had other things to do that day.
Back at the Jeep, Lydia wonders whether they should just walk. Stiles says he'll never abandon the Jeep, just like he'll never abandon Derek.
See, Derek would never question that. He'd be like, I get it. I had to get an SUV to put my wolf pups in, but I still keep that Camaro in a garage because it was Laura's, according to fan lore. And then there'll be a whole movie about how he's complicated feelings about the Jeep.
Very complicated feelings about the Jeep. Yeah, the Jeep.
Yeah, the way one would have complicated feelings about a coworker's vehicle.
Just a coworker, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Malia says Stiles needs to work faster because there's something out there with them.
Meanwhile, Scott and Braden enter the church. Braden says she doesn't care what happens to Kate after Braden turns her over to the Calaveras, which shocks Scott somehow. He catches Derek's scent, but is distracted by the realization that there's something not human in there with them.
Well, Braden's not completely human.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she can brand people's skin. You know, we saw it in 3A. She's got some kind of magic in her.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It doesn't count because that never went anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think they ever really played it like it was a special power. It was just weird writing.
I think it changed. Probably at the time we were like, oh, she's a druid or something. And then we just decided, nah, she just shoots guns.
She goes boom, boom a lot.
Pew, pew.
Like the first time I saw it, I did think she was magical, but I also thought that Stiles doing the Mountain Ash meant that he was something. And then it was just like, oh, everyone can do it. So yeah, I think that was just dropped, that she was anything more than just
a human.
Mm-hmm.
A very
Who shoots
capable
guns.
human, but
Yes.
Oh yeah. At the Jeep, Kira uses her katana to wield the light from the Jeep's headlights and search the darkness ahead of them. She catches a glimpse of something and Malia charges after it.
Malia instantly goes into kill mode. She's like the iron spider suit that's just set to kill all the time.
Kill, kill.
Kira follows Malia while Lydia convinces Stiles to focus on fixing the Jeep.
Kira's always chasing behind her girlfriend, being like, Malia, no.
Bad Malia, sit.
Get that out of your mouth. Drop it.
When Kira finds Malia, she's already hurt.
That's why you don't just run after monsters, Malia. I hope this was a valuable lesson for you.
Malia didn't get a good look at the thing, but it was big and cut deep. Luckily, they hear the Jeep's engine roar to life and head back to the others.
In the church, Brayden asks Scott why he didn't kiss his girlfriend before they left. Scott says Kira isn't his girlfriend.
Now with that attitude.
You know, you could tell her to mind her own business, Scott. Just because you guys are awkwardly stuck together in this doesn't mean you have to tell her your relationship drama.
Brayden says he should have kissed his girlfriend.
Tell her about Allison dying. Then she'll feel bad.
Yeah, probably not.
No, she wouldn't.
She'd be like, exactly, my dude. You gotta seize that day. Your next girlfriend could die tomorrow.
And she probably will.
Have you ever seen a grown alpha cry? Because you're about to.
As Brayden and Scott continue through the church, a monster unfurls.
This whole sequence was inspired by Aliens. When the Colonial Marines are down in the reactor core and you just see glimpses of the aliens starting to come to life, you think it's just the wall moving, but it's aliens, so great.
Spoiler for there being aliens and aliens.
Alien is better.
You don't like Aliens?
I like it fine, but it's what happens when you sequel a horror film, but make the sequel not a horror film.
Yeah, he wanted to make it an action film instead, and he succeeded.
Boo! And also hiss.
It's still great.
It has Bill Paxton.
I know, it's not that I think Aliens is a bad movie, it's just that Alien is a masterpiece.
At least it's not Prometheus, so it's got that going for it.
Yeah, that movie is garbage, unlike Aliens, which is also a masterpiece.
Masterpiece is a strong word for Aliens, in my opinion.
It is a strong word. That's why I used it.
Whatever. James Cameron's a bitch.
Just remember, James Cameron defined feminism for us as having female action heroes that have no femininity whatsoever. That's what makes them so strong.
That's the only way to have strong female characters.
I hope he gets Barbie thrown in his face a lot.
Don't get me wrong, butch women are dope. But his whole assertion that femininity is anti-feminist is stupid. I enjoy drinking the tears of guys like him.
It makes the world a better place.
Back in the Jeep and on the road, Stiles tells Malia never to run off like that again. He thought she had just left.
Malia says she'd never leave Stiles. Lydia and Kira, sure, but not Stiles.
Stiles assures Lydia and Kira that this is once again progress.
Despite that, Lydia and Kira worry about Malia's wound, but she says she can feel it healing.
Although Malia didn't get a good look at whatever wounded her, she says it had a strong scent, like death.
Wow. Flashback to Magic Bullet. I want Stiles to be like, oh, now I see how vague and useless that was.
At La Calacia, Scott and Brayden fight off an unseen enemy.
Ugh, I hate plug-in muzzle flashes. They look so bad. Just use blanks.
No one notices but you.
I'm the only person that matters.
Well, it's probably safer, right?
Yes, it is. But I know it was because we didn't have money. Scott gives his alpha roar and scares the thing off. Then they find a stone carving of Tezcatlipoca, the Nawal jaguar god.
There it is. Although, Wolfies, this is a bit reductive. Tezcatlipoca is the god of many things. The jaguar is Tezcatlipoca's tonal animal.
Thank you once again, Kate, for all the research you did on this.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Brayden says she thinks they found Derek.
Yep, that looks like Derek on the seal there. Just an angry shapeshifter.
In true Derek fashion, Scott punches through the stone wall.
Do y'all remember when I took y'all on a tour of the stage and I showed y'all this circular door?
Yes.
I think we have pictures with it. I'll have to post them for this episode.
Plus, I think your sister was there with us too.
Yep, Bryn was.
Behind the now damaged wall, a hand reaches out to them for help. Scott and Brayden are shocked by what they see.
Just as the Jeep arrives, Scott and Brayden come out of the church with someone else in tow. Is it Derek? Malia asks.
Stiles says, sort of. When they see his face, they realize Derek is a teenager.
It's friend of the pod, Ian Nelson, with that baby Derek face.
Ah. Stiles is like, man, Derek's finally my age and I just got a girlfriend.
Timing.
Yes. The episode ends there.
Distressingly little Tyler Hoechlin in it.
So besides the lack of Tyler Hoechlin. What did we think of the season 4 opener?
It's fun.
There's a lot of good imagery, some very badass stuff with Kira and Malia. And I don't just mean the sexy dancing. I mean, you got the glowing nunchucks and the Malia like clotheslining this guy on a dance floor.
That was great. That was great.
Kira showing us some of her sweet katana moves out in the desert.
Yeah.
Some really good imagery, like dropping the shell casing in the shot glass and beautiful aerial shots, some cool set pieces and costumes.
True. And like any good Teen Wolf episode, it ends with a what the just happened.
Yeah.
It's very what the fuck.
Which this one does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time watching it and it was like, what is happening?
Yeah. Well, what's fun, I think, is that people who had early access to this episode, so people who had press passes, went to Twitter and said, what happens at the beginning of season 4 is something I've seen in fanfic before. And I think they specified it's not MPreg, even though they wouldn't need to specify that. We all knew it wasn't going to be MPreg. But that left a lot of people guessing what fanfic trope is it going to be. And here we get that reveal that it's...
They open a bakery.
Very...
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. They just open a bakery. Oh my God.
Or you have my attention, Teen Wolf.
Yeah. So that just extra textually, that was fun. How that sparked all this conversation in the fandom about what crazy fanfic trope could they possibly make canonical.
Yeah. They open the bakery, but Derek's still like really upset. And Stiles just doesn't understand. And Scott, with some kind of weird moment of clarity, is like, dude, you know how Derek is around fire.
No.
Why make it sad? Don't make it sad.
Don't
destroy something.
Go sit in the corner.
Folks, it's the beginning of a new season. That means I'm sitting in the corner.
You're sitting in the corner. The bakery trope is supposed to be cozy. It's supposed to be low stakes.
Yeah, here I am bringing it all down around us. So take that, the people who just want them to be bakers and have good, wholesome lives.
He says that, but one time we wrote a fanfic and it was dark, involved a bakery.
We did?
Well, maybe y'all should find that and post it.
I really enjoyed it as a season opener. I didn't love the flashbacks or the color correction there. I thought it was a bit much, but it was great to be like in a new location for all of the episode, because I feel like that's definitely something we don't get a lot in Teen Wolf. You know, so often it's just, here's the school, here's the woods.
Yeah.
Derek's loft. The end of places.
Yeah, the same locations. I would say my biggest complaint about the episode is that kind of the central plot point where it goes from being about the Calaveras to being about Kate.
Yeah.
Is nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real big reach, or as in Spanish, El Richo. So
okay, El Barto.
You're still in the corner.
It's weird. It's almost like I can hear something, but I can't because it's coming from the corner.
But yeah, it is a big reach. It's basically the Calaveras improvised a plan wherein they electrocute Scott to get some neurons to fire and slowly lead him to the conclusion that it's Kate, instead of just coming to them and being like, hey, we f***ed up a little bit. We grabbed Kate Argent and then lost her. That's our beat. Can you go try to find her?
Yeah. Wait, Kate is a supernatural creature now? I don't buy that, buddy. Like 3 months ago, there was like a leather-clad druid witch.
Yeah.
Shit up. So
yeah,
just believe us. You know?
Yeah. It just made no sense. I feel like Scott will believe anything that someone tells him, to sometimes his own detriment.
Also, they could have been like, dig up the body then.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're that anti-believing us, although I don't know what other reason they would have for coming to them and telling them that would be another convoluted plan, but whatever, dig up the body then.
I wonder who's in there. Some other person who stole from the Calaveras.
Yeah, I actually do kind of want to know who's in there, but yeah. So I would say all the trappings, the visuals, the dialogue, very snappy, beautiful cinematography as always, costumes and all that were on point. I just would maybe shift a little bit of the story to make it feel like less of a leap, less of like, I can't picture any group of adults coming to the conclusion that this plan makes any sense.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. It got very convoluted very quickly. Kind of reminds me of a lot of the stuff that was happening in 3A, unfortunately. But I can't answer the question as to who is in the coffin. It was a hey boy. Weird Al, Kate. Remember? You
Weird
just watched it.
Al. Remember, he makes a hey boy so he can
He
sneak
makes
out
a
of his
hey
room.
boy so he
Oh,
can sneak
yeah.
out.
Oh, my
Sorry.
God.
It's a very specific reference, but I knew you guys had watched it.
Yeah.
He's like, really, Al? A hey boy?
A hey boy. Totally forgot about that. In my head, I was hearing HEY boy. And I was just like, I don't know what
What's the
that
joke?
means. All right, Wolfies, that wraps up the beta section for The Dark Moon. And now we're about to dive into spoilers, not just for this episode, but for the whole Teen Wolf series. If you want to stay spoiler-free for all of the excellent stories to come, jump out now and we'll catch you next week. But if this isn't your first time in Beacon Hills and you want to hear more, don't move a muscle. Here comes the alpha.
Not smart to come alone.
What makes you think we came alone?
You brought a wolf into my home?
We brought an alpha.
All right, Wolfies. Now we're going to jump to our interview with Ryan Kelley, who played Deputy Parrish on Teen Wolf. Let's have a listen.
Hey.
Hey!
Oh, there you are.
There we go. How's it going?
My internet, it is just terrible.
What was it when we were trying to do an interview with J.R. Bourne?
We don't have to mention it. We don't have to.
Well.
I don't know why you're bringing this
Poor
up
JR.
to our guest.
He was so patient.
Okay, so Ryan, we interviewed JR a while back, and it was terrible thunderstorm on my end, and the internet was abysmal. Like I lost connection with the Zoom meeting multiple times. And Kate was at Disney
I was
World
in Florida.
at a hotel and had better internet than I did. And it was they even played a prank on me at one point. Like I lost everything, and then when I came back, they all just stayed frozen.
That was JR's idea.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, in our defense, that was JR's idea. He was like, you guys, it would be really funny.
It was hilarious and wanted to blow my brains out. Man, we are so happy to have you joining us.
We're super excited.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And so let's get the ball rolling. Ryan, how did you get into acting?
We had neighbors, I believe, when I was younger that did a lot of print work. Newspapers. Back then it was catalogs for Kmart and Land's End and things like that. So that was like my step into the entertainment world. And then around 7 or 6 or something like that, it's acting and acting classes and auditions and things like that. But yeah, I started off as like a little model.
Oh,
Very nice.
An adorable picture.
So somewhere out in a Sears catalog, there is a young Ryan Kelley.
A lot. I used to do it a lot.
Can we find these online? Like, is this Googleable?
Does your mom have them?
Probably
Can we
not.
speak to her?
Are they on someone's
so-
fridge? Like, it just sounds cute.
So I have 14 siblings. So my parents aren't good at saving stuff. They never were.
oh.
There'd just be too much. So at some point, I'm sure there was a box with VHS tapes and pictures and cutouts. And my mom used to do that. But over the years, they got destroyed by animals, by us, so my parents, you can't scrapbook 15 kids. We didn't have the space.
Well, I mean, not with that attitude.
Wow.
But, so. Wow. 14 siblings. So where do you fall?
5th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So a lot of diaper changing for you as you got old. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. So how did Kmart and Sears cataloging end up with you on the big and small screen?
It just was like, a natural next step where I always looked younger than I actually was. So that benefits you as an actor because you can, if you're older and you look younger, you can work more hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was a well-behaved kid. All my siblings were. So it just, at any time we did work, they're like, wow, you guys were, really well-behaved and, you're great in front of the camera. And then, they're like, you ever thought about acting? Or, it's just like, that was the easy transition. And again, there were so many of us that if they were ever looking for a different age range, the Kelley kids, there was one of every age range. Like, well, we need a 12-year-old. Got it. Kelley's got it. So.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's awesome. It's like the Brady Bunch of acting. Just
Yes.
a family with
That's
a kid.
bigger than the Brady Bunch.
But yeah, okay, so the Brady
Yeah.
Bunch, and then
They dwarf the Brady Bunch.
the cheaper by the dozen gang +2.
Yes. Except that's what everyone always asks was your family like cheaper by the dozen? And in that movie, they're crazy. Like that is not how our house was. My mom, was strict. My dad was strict. They said jump. We asked how high, like
Gotcha.
they're great parents, but it was never mayhem. Like you'd think my parents were great parents. So, they handled us. We grew up respectful.
Gotcha.
I don't know what happened when I got older, but when I was younger.
Well, how did acting turn into a trip to Beacon Hills?
I've been involved with Teen Wolf before it even started, just because I did a movie with Russell called Prayers for Bobby. So I knew about Teen Wolf before it ever happened, and I auditioned for Scott in season 1.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't tall, dark, and handsome enough. I wasn't Tyler Posey. And I auditioned a bunch of times for Isaac's role on season 2.
Okay.
And didn't get that. So I had been involved in Teen Wolf a good amount even before I ever even got on the show. Yeah. So the funny thing is, the first time I got the audition for Parrish, I turned it down. I said, I feel like I got too many connections. Like I want a bigger role in the show. I love this show. I love the people involved. I also knew Hecklin and Holland before Teen Wolf as well. They were, in our friend circle. Yeah. It was a weird, just weird family. That's why I've continued to stay friends with them even afterwards. But I turned it down because it was like a tiny guest role, one spot thing that looked like he was, figured he was going to get killed. And I was like, there's got to be something come on, I've been so close. Let's come, and I was told, hey, that this role is gonna expand.
I don't blame you for thinking that, given the track record of the deputies
Yeah.
in the sheriff's department. Like that's it's a tough line of work.
It is.
Yeah.
We had a new deputy in season 2. We're like, hey, we like her. This is dead. Oh, okay, dead. Got it. Okay,
Instantly dead.
Dead.
So
Just dead.
fast.
So
I didn't want that. Right? I didn't want that.
Well, that's awesome. You mentioned Russell. What was it like reuniting with him? Years later after that initial job together.
So I did a movie with him called Prayers for Bobby, which is still like one of the of all the projects I've done. It holds dearest to my heart. I'm most proud of that. It was tough. It's a great movie. And he was fantastic. Over the years, I've worked with a bunch of different types of directors. Russell is so visually beautiful at what he does, and he kind of lets the actor do what you do. So at first, it was kind of I wanted to make sure that he liked me. I kept asking like, was that good? And you'd be, oh, it was excellent. Excellent. But I was like, he doesn't say anything to me. Am I doing good? And the producer was like, no, he loves you. He's just busy. He's doing thing. He trusts you. So that was once I got used to that. I love that. It's my favorite thing ever. I get to do things that I want to do and try it. And if I do bad, then Russell's going to tell me. But otherwise, I get to, whereas a lot of times you don't even get to do that. The director just takes control or tries to micromanage you right away, especially on a newer project. So I love working with Russell. And so then when doing it on Teen Wolf, it was just like, it was even easier because it was way more enjoyable. Prayers for Bobby was a lot of fun, but filming it was rough. It was a dark mental state. A tough subject matter, really important, but so I didn't have a lot of fun times filming that. Whereas on Teen Wolf, it was nothing but fun.
Well, there you go.
It's fun, murder and stuff. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really funny that you mentioned auditioning for Isaac, because our fan question actually pertains to a fan theory that Parrish is actually Isaac Leahy's older brother. Had you ever heard that before? And what do you think your and Daniel's dynamic on the show would have been like if he had still been around for season 4 or beyond?
I've definitely heard that. I've heard it all. Okay. Like that was one of my favorite things about Parrish is I got to do something that isn't normal. When we were figuring out what Parrish was, I didn't know either. So I got to actually communicate with fans and bounce ideas off and be like, dude, I don't know either. So what do you think? Oh, that's awesome. Normally as an actor, you get all the information up front. I didn't get the information. So it was, so I was definitely talking to fans all the time. I had a lot of fun with that. So I've heard that multiple times. I love Sharman. I wish I got to work with him more. So it would have been really cool whether I was his brother or not. I don't think I was, I don't think that's what it was, but you never know. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't know I was a hellhound until last minute.
That's how we did it on Teen Wolf. That's how we rolled.
Will, I remember badgering you and trying to get you to tell us what Parrish was before the show revealed it, because we were friends by this time, And I had gotta hand it to you. You were a fortress because we were like just following you around the apartment, being like, Will, is he a djinn? Is he a djinn, Will? Blink twice if he's a djinn.
No, we held on to it for a while.
Yeah.
We decided to not give anything away. That was like this season, like with the benefactor and stuff like that. It's like we held on to some secrets that season from everybody, including cast and crew. Like I even have a picture of two of our guys in post, like reading the script, like when the benefactor was revealed, and that was the first time anybody knew about it and stuff like that. And then the same thing with Parrish eventually becoming the Hellhound. It's like we held on to that for a while, and it was fun.
You have any fun stories from the Teen Wolf set that you'd like to share?
The best times were always offset or in between, filming, because when you're filming, you have an entire crew, and God bless them. They're there before us and they're there after us, and they're there to make the show look amazing. So the last thing you want to do is goof off too much to where you cause them even more time than they're already putting in. They're going to start to hate you, So it's pretty businesslike and professional while you're filming on set, and on top of that, you're stressed over your lines. A lot of times things are changing on most sets. There isn't too much goofing off while filming. When you're back in your trailers or right after work, or, if you're traveling for the show, that's really where the fun stories happen. And, so that's things people always ask us like, hey, what pranks happened on set? Here and there's some stuff, but never anything too much on set, because again, you're trying to be professional. You're trying to get the crew home to their families as quick as possible, and yourself. So, there are people that are actors that have families, but the crew is there before you and after you. So you do your best to get in and get out for them.
Very professional.
Yeah.
Your parents would be proud.
The writers just never left.
Jeff, especially. I mean, like we would pull some long days, like some really long days, and be like, all right, guys, we're going home. And Jeff's like, see ya. And he's just clacking away at the keyboard, still working. And yeah, he was a consummate professional, but always had to get something done.
Who on the Teen Wolf set, cast or crew, would make the best alpha?
That's a good question. Melissa, for sure. I mean, she was our alpha anyway. She took care of all of us. She still does. She was amazing. So she's the true alpha. Okay. She always ran in, if we're traveling, she'd make sure everyone's okay. She's very much, she is, she's a mother, but she treated us like cubs. It was awesome. I mean, she is, and we all respect her immensely. So it's probably unanimous. Everyone would be like, yeah, Melissa.
Nice.
She's so lovely.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
She is really quite wonderful.
It really is.
You've had some pretty amazing guest spots on iconic shows like Early Edition, Smallville, Law and Order SVU, just to name a few. What has been your favorite role to play for any project you've been on?
Well, I mean, the real answer is Teen Wolf, not only because, for a lot of reasons. Like I said, I had friends and family involved in this already, but it was the longest running, so it becomes a true family. However, the most fun I ever had, Ben 10 was magical in the sense that I was playing a cartoon hero that kids look up to and recognize. And at the time, it's still incredibly popular, but at the time it was like the #1 kids show and Christmas gift, birthday gift, like it wild. And then one of my I have like a top 5 things in the movie world where it's like crazy. You can't imagine that things like this happen. And up there is when we were filming. If you know the show, Kevin, another character in the movie, has this really iconic green car. It's like muscle, and if you saw it anywhere, you'd be like, that's Kevin 11's car. Well, I was driving it in full costume with my Ben 10 jacket, and I looked just like Ben 10, which is why I got cast. And I had Kevin in the car as well, and we pulled up next to. We were doing the scene where we had to slam into a gas station to try to figure something out. And we pulled up next to a school bus, and these kids had to have been, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, and their faces are smashed against the wall. The car has tinted windows, so they can't see that anyone's in there. It's like murder black. So they're freaking out. We're revving the engine, laughing. And I was like, you want to blow these kids' minds? Like, let's get out. And we got out and started waving them. And these kids' minds just exploded because they knew that car looked like it, but they didn't expect Ben 10 and Kevin 11 to get out of the car. And I'm telling you, it went mayhem. And it was one of the coolest experiences ever. These kids, I just blew their mind, so that part was a lot of fun. And then same thing with filming. If I ever had the jacket on and kids were on set, which they visited a lot, and it was really cool. little kids have such crazy imaginations, and then to be able to be a part of their imagination in a real life version, it'd be like being a princess at Disneyland, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
see the kids just like lock eyes with them from miles away and like team, and that's what kids would do to me. And it was I love kids, so it was a lot of fun.
That's great.
That's so
That's
cute.
so cute.
I love that
That's
story.
great. Yeah, really cute. That's just wonderful. When you were cast on Teen Wolf, did you think it was going to go supernatural, or did you just think, oh, hey, they're not going to kill this deputy for at least a season?
So the T, I don't know if I'd love to know more. I've always wanted to talk more about where this was going to go, but originally I was told Parrish was Argent, was put into the police
Interesting.
force as like and in fact, when I did that scene where I'm handing JR his gun back, we just arrested him, I have his gun back, I was told, hey, I work for him. But yeah, so I originally was a hunter, and then the show lost some characters and that shook some things up, and so it changed the storylines. But originally I was told I was going to be an Argent, or at least like a hunter. Now I have no idea. I don't know how close or what was I from a different, I don't know, so there's so many questions I have that I've always wanted to ask, and I always forget about that. But yeah, originally I was told I was a hunter, and that
That's so
changed
cool.
when people left and the show changed a little bit, and then I became supernatural. And I'm so glad that happened, because it's a scary thing as an actor to not know what you are, but it was also something that I don't think I'll ever experience again, where I was acting along. And like I said, I was able to go to conventions or talk with fans and not know, and have fun with them and be able to talk. One of the annoying things is when you're talking with fans, like, please tell me, like, I can't, and they're like, please just, like you were saying, wink, come on, tell me. I don't know. I really don't know. You tell me. Am I salamander? That's pretty cool. I'm a phoenix. Oh, I could see that, but I don't know, so it was a lot of fun, and I would mess with them. And like, I was like, I really don't know. And then I didn't know until like, not even that, like when the fans found out, I found out not that much more before. Like it was a lot of fun. Like I said, it's scary as an actor to have that, because I would tell Jeff, like, I just don't want to be doing something wrong. Like, what if you tell me I'm this and I've been playing it like this? He's like, you're doing fine, trust me. And I was like, all right, cool. All right. So
Will, did you know that he was going to be a hunter originally?
It was originally talked about the idea of a mole hunter, but then it shifted, I think, pretty quickly for us, so that we liked that idea. But then it ended up just being like, well, we've kind of done the hunter thing, like we did all that hunter. The hunter season at that point for us was basically season 2.
yeah.
And it's like, do we want to go back to that now? And then it was early enough on that we could change it, but the idea of a mole coming into town was discussed for a while. And then we moved on from that and kind of realized he was going to be a super. I'm assuming you kind of figured out, was like, hey, when they scheduled you for a body cast or something, it's like, okay, we need you to go to the makeup guys, and they're going to show you some stuff. And we're
I just wanted to be important. I just didn't want like for you guys to be like, Parrish's finger lights up. It's dark in here. I got you.
He's an ET monster.
Yeah. So I was happy with a hellhound.
Nice.
Okay,
Very
but
cool.
Will, when you said a mole hunter, I was like, he hunts weremoles? Like,
He does.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that idea.
You know how dangerous they can be,
To your
Claw-
yard.
clawing around in the dirt.
What was your favorite scene to film on Teen Wolf?
Any collaboration where everyone was in it was a lot of fun, because we're all friends and family. When you talk to people on shows, everyone always says, I love my cast. It's not always the case. There's always one person or a couple people that don't get along. I'm not kidding you. Everyone on Teen Wolf, I got along with everyone. I know that. Maybe there was but nothing major, nothing major at all. We genuinely love each other. We're friends. Like it's a joy when I get to see them. So the ensembles were awesome. The only negative part was that is like we would then be shooting a scene for 2 weeks. You'd come back like the next week and be like, we're still on this? What the heck? It just would never end, but it was a lot of fun. However, my favorite scene, I think the sewer scene with JR, where he's stuck on the rebar, and I'm convincing him to fight. First off, I love JR, and I think he's such a talented actor. So getting to have just a one-on-one scene with him where we're doing what we do was pretty powerful. And I think that scene was pretty powerful. So that was a lot of fun. And then at the end, when his eyes light up again, I didn't, we're figuring out what I am. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
That's a great scene with the two of you in the sewers. It's pretty good.
It's tough context. You're basically a man who's giving up trying to die, and Parrish is like, hey, this is not what your daughter would want.
Right.
It's powerful.
Yeah, powerful stuff. Very good.
So are there any actors or characters that you wish you had more screen time with?
All of them.
Just all
of them. I mean, every single one. Sinqua, Charmin, even people I work with all the time, like Shelly. Shelly's one of my favorite people in the world. I would love to do more work with her. Hecklin, I love that guy more than anything. And I didn't get to work with him too much. We dabbled things like this, but I would have loved more. Lyndon, who I worked with the most, is still one of my favorite people in the world too. So I would love more time with him. I genuinely love everyone on that set. Holland, one of my favorite people in the world. Working with her is amazing. So, you pick I could throw a dart, and it wouldn't be anyone less important.
Oh,
That's great.
It's great. So nice to hear.
Yeah.
Everyone we've talked to has so much love for the show that they worked on, and it's just great to, after all this time, that's still there.
Yeah.
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 Did you have any thoughts about Parrish's backstory that the show didn't cover?
I mean, I thought about it all the time. I wanted to get to know more. The cool thing that I learned to do with Parrish is not think too much, because again, my fear was like, if I can't make up my own story, because again, if you would have asked me what I was I would have never guessed a Hellhound. So I would have been doing it wrong. So I kind of just rolled with what I had. And it kind of made sense because Parrish was kind of like that too. He was still figuring it out. So I kind of took Parrish as kind of like myself in terms of like Parrish is figuring out as he goes. I don't have the backstory. He doesn't know. So as I got information, it's kind of rediscovering for himself, which I think was really cool. And again, as an actor, it was unique, not normal, but a lot of fun. It was different. It was a different experience, something that I've never done in any project I've ever been a part of, and I don't know if I ever will. So I just had fun with learning as I went.
That's great.
Did you have like a favorite guess as to, like, once you knew that you were supernatural but didn't know yet what exactly you were, like, did you have a guess that you were like, this would be really cool or anything like that?
I had no idea. And that's the thing. I didn't want to think too much. Again, my biggest fear was like, I just want something cool. Please don't make me useless, or like a novelty thing. Like, like I said, something where I'm like, he's kind of helpful, but not really. I wanted to be badass. I wanted to be badass. And the Hellhound exceeded my expectations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is Teen Wolf. We don't do anything not badass.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What is your dream role to play? And do you have a particular director you would love to work with one day?
When you're young, and I still would love it, don't get me wrong, but when you're young, you want awards and people to tell you what a great actor you are. You want to make people proud and things like that. Now, trust me, I still want to make really good content and do stuff that helps people's lives or makes them better. But the ultimate goal is to work with people that I care about or that I enjoy working with. Teen Wolf spoiled me. Like I said, I can think of a couple projects where it wasn't Teen Wolf in any way, shape, or form, and that's miserable. I mean, it's no different than, people, we all understand like work or even school. If you're a kid going to a class where like there's people in there that really annoy you or make it miserable, or the teacher's like terrible. So you're just like, oh, this class, I have a whole year of this. So work can be the same way. And all it takes is one bad apple and it makes the job miserable. It goes from something that's so amazing and joyful and amazing, you doing what you love, to I hate this. You'd be surprised at how many actors have that, where it's just like one bad apple ruins it for everyone. I could give you a list of names of friends that are on shows right now where they're like, this person, makes it miserable. Whenever I work with them, I'm like, get me out of here. And I didn't have that on Teen Wolf. So I just want to keep working with people that I respect, that are good people, that care for others. Sadly, the entertainment industry breeds monsters at times. They allow actors to get giant heads and they think they're too important, or that, they're curing cancer or something, so they get these heads and they just make it miserable to work with. And it doesn't have to be like that. It's real fun. It's amazing. And if you can just make the job equally as, it's great for everyone and the crew too, like I said, they're there before us and after us. So if there's an actor that makes it miserable, it's like, that's extra hard. It's like, gosh, I'm putting in 16-hour days and this person comes in for 6 hours and is bitching, like it's, so the older I get, honestly, I just want to continue working with people that I respect. So I could do Barney right now. If it was, get Hecklin, get JR, get Ian, I'll do it. I'll get in a pink, purple Barney suit and I'll dance around if I'm working with people I love.
Nice.
Well, they are making that Barney movie.
They are making a Barney movie,
so you never know.
Yeah,
I didn't get the call.
I'd watch it.
I didn't get the
So when you're finally revealed to be a Hellhound, what was the process like for getting into the full body makeup?
Well, the first test I did, there was way more stuff. I had more stuff on my face, and
Mhm.
and I think another reason why is like it was well over 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours to get into that makeup. So they're like, we need to tone that down. And it was like 3 hours, 3.5 in the beginning, and then the special effects guys, they were so fantastic. They just got it down to where it ended up being, I don't even, maybe even just under 2 hours, depending on how many people I had work. Even if one person did, there were a couple times where they were so spread thin working werewolves and things like that, I would have just one person on me and they would still get it done in a little over 2 hours.
Wow.
All the fire is like individual prosthetics that would glow in blacklight. They would do like these magical fingers to make it pop. So it was real pieces. It wasn't CGI. The only thing that was fake was the fire, obviously, in my eyes. But so it was prosthetics, and it would individual pieces that they had to match. So that it was time consuming. So I would stand there like this in basically skin colored undies for 2-3 hours, and we just cracked jokes with the guys in the special effects, and it was a lot of fun. The worst part about it was getting into it was not bad. It's the start of the day or whatever. Even if you're tired, whatever, you're having fun, you're cracking jokes. When everyone's done after doing like a 20-hour day, everyone else gets to leave, and they're speeding home because they're tired, and I have an hour and a half of scraping makeup off with alcohol, just getting red and my skin getting beaten up because that's the only way it would come off. You're doing stunts and that stuff stays on.
Right.
So having
Yeah.
like tough chemicals to come off.
Right.
And I just remember, there were a couple nights where I was like, I'm about to just go home in this stuff. I don't even care.
Hey, you could have pulled a Boris Karloff. There were, I think, stories of him going home still in makeup, just because he was too tired and it was too much of a process to get off. Even way back in 1933.
If I knew, I would have many of times. I mean, there were even times where, again, like my legs would be covered in soot and it would take forever to scrub it. And I'd be like, I'm coming back to put it on tomorrow. Just leave it on. It's not dirt. It just, but a lot of times I was told, oh, we're only doing Hellhound today. And then, of course, because it's such a massive show and there's so many things going on, we get behind. So I'd come back in like, oh, you're doing Hellhound tomorrow. I'd be like, no. All right, let's do it. 3 hours, 4 hours. All right, let's go.
Nice.
I loved it, though. I did.
Well, it looked really, really good.
It did. It
thing,
absolutely
yeah.
did. I think it was Eric Porn who came up with the idea for the black light to just have that on so that it casts that original glow that then John Gross's guys in VFX could just enhance and all that. And so that was a brilliant idea. I'm sure it saved a lot of money. So yeah.
It looks
and it
so
looks
good.
so good. That's the thing. Like they would have loved to do more prosthetics, and I would have loved to because that's what made it look so cool. If you do too much CGI, it can start to look like so
it doesn't hold up as well as over time.
Yeah.
But them doing that and like you mentioned, Eric Porn, he was so fast at getting on, and I truly think it made the Hellhound look so cool.
Yeah, it did. I remember when we were figuring out that you're the Hellhound and like what the look is, because Jeff was always like, I have an idea, and he just goes and draws something. He instead of describing it to us, but like I remember like drawing all these cracks, and we kind of talked about the Balrog from Lord of the Rings and how like there's fire within you that you're seeing crackle up through the skin and all that. And so that was just a lot of fun. And then when Eric came up with this idea for the black light, it's like, well, this is even better.
Yeah,
it's an embarrassment of riches. So it was wonderful.
I still think that he and John Gross should make their own effects studio and call it Gross Porn Productions.
It would be a good one.
I mean, it's right
there.
It's right
So-
there.
So much Kate.
It's right there.
I'm an adult. It's fine. If you could be any Teen Wolf creature, what would you be?
So again, I know it's cheesy. I was so happy with being a Hellhound. I love it. Now I have obviously like but if I had to pick something else, I mean, just because the show is about werewolves, being Parrish was a part of the pack, but if he was truly a part of the pack and being a werewolf, a werewolf would be, they're pretty cool.
They are very cool. They have the best abilities. It seems like all the regeneration and stuff like that. So it's good. It's good.
Solid pick. You've described the makeup process, but outside of that, what was a typical day like for you on set?
So crazy thing about Teen Wolf is since it is such a large ensemble, you just never knew. I mean, unless you were Posey, where you were there every day, all the time, that poor kid. Some weeks were really busy. Some weeks were way chiller. So you'd come in and sometimes I'd have a scene in the morning and not a scene until the afternoon. So I'd just be chilling out, having fun around the trailers, eating lunch with the other cast, goofing off, having fun. And some weeks were slammed, where you were in every scene, or just like I said, epic scenes where it's just nonstop. That's a thing that not just Teen Wolf, but that's why I love acting is you just never know. Week to week, it can be completely different. Ups and downs, goods and bad, so it's always changing. Unless, like I said, it's a crazy ensemble scene where then you're 2 weeks of doing the same thing where you're like, wait, we're still doing this? What the? Okay. But otherwise, it's a new thing, every scene, by, lunch in the morning, you're doing something completely different. It's one of my favorite things about when you're working as an actor. It changes forever. Nothing is the same. I love it.
Well, it definitely keeps it fresh. So you
Yes.
don't have to, no staleness to it, which is great.
What was it like working on the Teen Wolf movie 12 years after the end of the show?
Part of it is bonkers because, the show, we're doing movies now, but also within like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of being back on set, it felt like we never left. The coolest part about the movie is we started back in LA on the old studio, on the stages that we had finished at. So when everyone's there again, and a lot of the crew was the same, which was amazing. That was I was worried. I was like, oh, I'm going to be with all my, all the actors that I love and adore, but the crew's going to be different. It's not going to feel the same. And you show up to set and a lot of people were there and you're like, yes, so it was like a crazy reunion. It was awesome, but it was also wild, especially when we went back into Atlanta. That was my first time being in Atlanta for Teen Wolf, even though the show started there. It's just a lot of fun. It's like I'm going to sound like a parrot, but it truly is a family. So every moment that I got to do more with them was, I loved it. It started off felt like we never left, and then you continue it. And then when it ends again, you're like, oh, okay, this again.
That's wonderful. In 2019, you starred in A Beauty and the Beast Christmas. Would you like to try your hand at more romantic comedies?
Yeah. That one was a lot of fun. We shot that so quick, just because of time restraints for myself and other actors on that. That was one of the quickest films I ever did, which was wild. But yeah, I would, I love all films. And so as long as I'm working with cool people, and everyone on that movie was also awesome. As long as I'm around people that are fun and, we're creative, we're all actors, everyone who works in the entertainment industry, whether you're an actor, a writer, we're all not different, but we're creative. And so being around creative people, it's just it's part of my, it's orgasmic. I love being around creative people and people that love and have passions about the same thing as me. So, like I said, if it doesn't matter what I'm doing, if I'm around people that are like me and good people, it's my favorite thing in the world. I'd never want to go home.
Well, that's an amazing attitude, and being able to do that is wonderful.
Yeah.
If you could pick one song to sum up the character of Jordan Parrish, what would it be?
Lyndon would always play this song for me. It's old, and it was Hellhound. I think it might even be just called Hellhound. I'm not sure. But or it's something else, and then it talks about a hellhound in it, and Lyndon would always play it for me when I was in my hell. I should I'm terrible. I should know this. I don't. So that would be the song. However, I don't know. I could Google it, or I think, but
I've got Hellhound on My Trail, which
Who sings it?
So originally, I think Robert Johnson, cover by Eric Clapton, and then Hellhound by Misfits in the 80s.
Okay, something like that. And Lyndon would play it all the time. And so that would be me. That'd be Parrish.
The Parrish soundtrack.
I feel like Hellhound on My Trail, the original one, he's on Supernatural whenever they did Hellhounds.
Well,
never mind.
Never mind. Never mind, it's ruined.
Well, with as many episodes they did, come on now. They used pretty much every song ever.
They cast an actor as Robert Johnson.
Oh, really?
On the show. Yeah, because there's the whole kind of urban legend that he sold his soul to the devil to become amazing at music. So that's Supernatural decided to make that canon.
Literal.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I like that. That's a cool story.
Yeah, that's fun.
Well, maybe the song's back in then. We'll discuss it later. We'll do a flash poll.
Gotcha.
If Teen Wolf were to continue with additional movies or in another format, how would you like to see Parrish's story continue?
Listen, I thought I came up with this, but Holland swears I'm lying. I was like, hey, Parrish leaves the force. He becomes a private investigator. Holland and him join, or, Lydia and Parrish become private investigators, and they help out Supernatural. They figure out things like that. And then someone showed me a video, and it wasn't before that this was after, but she had said she talked about this before, but it was her and Ian. The same thing that I talked about. And I was like, I didn't. So my heart was broken, hey, I still think that's cool. So maybe, it's Holland and Ian, and then Parrish comes in to help out from time to time. He's like a drifter.
Nice.
But no, I think something, you could do that with almost any character, with like a type of spinoff of something like that. And it would be really cool. But Parrish and Lydia, or now you could be Parrish and Malia. would be really cool. All would make sense, some figuring out what they're doing later on in life, but still, especially with Parrish, it's still kind of law enforcement,
Right,
helping out,
I think it'd be
uses
interesting.
connections and things like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like
can
that.
only imagine what Malia would be like as a private eye.
That's why
I would love
Yes.
that. Yes, please.
She'd just be like, so real quick, are you cheating on your husband?
Yes.
Just say it slow so I can listen to your heartbeat. Just say it. You cheating on your husband?
Yes.
Okay. That would be amazing.
Yeah, you have good cop, blunt cop. And that'd be a lot of
No
fun.
filter cop, just
Yeah, no filter cop,
words
yeah.
like, hey, so we're gonna go in there, we're gonna ease with them. She just goes right out the bat,
Yeah.
what did we just talk about?
I don't know. You said some words. I wasn't listening.
I
Ready to
honestly
go.
wasn't listening. Oh my God, that would be so much fun. I would watch the hell out of that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
So you've discussed before the fan theories that were shared with you and just talking with fans before you knew what happened with Parrish. Do you have any stories with fans from fan encounters that you'd like to share, like convention stories or anything that would just made a lasting impression on you?
I love conventions. Again, the coolest thing about Teen Wolf is the fans made it such a giant, crazy thing. Like, I mean, at Comic-Con, it would trend with like Marvel, which is a TV show being tweeted more than some of the Marvel movies, which was bonkers. And that's because the fans are so passionate. And so when you would go to conventions and you would see this, you'd feel this passion and get to experience it firsthand. It was insane, but awesome. I mean, I especially towards the end, I tried to be like, okay, this might not happen again. I got to soak this in because again, I have so many friends that are on shows that are really talented and the shows are great, but the fan experience is nothing like they've never experienced that, they're just like, you're like, yeah, but not to where fans are like shutting down hotels or Teen Wolf was insane. And I got to come onto the show when it was already a well-oiled machine and and I knew what I was getting into, so the first crew that got to experience it as it just kind of blew up, that's even next level. I knew what I was getting myself into, which was exciting because I was like, this is, there's a lot of actors in the world that are very successful that don't ever get to experience that type of craziness. And Teen Wolf, that's one of the reasons why the show was so successful. It's the main reason. The fans just went with it and went crazy. So going to conventions, like I said, one of my favorite things was going and discussing Parrish, what he was. It was a lot of fun. People crack jokes, and like I said, because I didn't know, I get to participate and be like, and then they look at me like I'm supposed to know something. Be like, I don't, so it was a lot of fun. And I'm like, that's a great idea. That's even better idea. I don't know about that one. I'm like, watch, you're gonna be wrong. I'm like, all right. So I had tons of fun. The fans, I love people. Like I said, I mentioned I have 14 siblings, so I love being around crowds. I love feeding off that energy. And Teen Wolf was, like I said, I don't know if I'll ever experience that again. I hope I do, but if not, I was beyond blessed to have that fan experience. It was super cool, and they're the reason why the show was so successful.
That's wonderful. Our fans were
We
truly
need another
amazing.
Teen Wolf
Yeah,
convention.
they're the reason why they became a movie, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Another Teen Wolf convention would be great. Yes, we do. Maybe Betsy can bring Howler back.
Betsy, if you're
one
listening,
final- yes,
we
Betsy,
need
if you're
another
listening.
Great.
convention. It's really,
Yeah.
really important.
The
That we get another
final
convention.
reunion.
I
So-
bet.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's wonderful. Just the best.
Oh, yeah.
She's
One of my faves.
Just the best. Okay, so I'm a huge World War II nerd and was very excited to learn that you were part of a demo reel for a movie called The Mighty Eighth about B-17 flying fortresses. Or how did you come to be part of that project?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. That one's that's a heartbreaker. If you see the trailer, it looks epic, right?
Trailer is
and it was gonna be
incredible.
epic, and they're gonna. It was a big thing, and I was beyond stoked to be even thought of, but it never ended up happening. At the time, I don't remember exactly, but there was another film that was like and it bombed, and that's never a good thing when something's similar and it bombs. They're like, whoa, we're spending this. So it spooked off any possibility of that happening. But that would have been. I'm a huge World War II, any war. I'm fascinated by history. And then what those kids did is mind blowing. And it was so cool because we got to talk to some of the survivors and the guys that were in planes and just how crazy that stuff was. I'm a full blown adult. And if you would have had me do that at 18, I was 100% a moron at 18. I'm probably still half a moron, So kids fighting wars at 18, 19, the oldest most responsible person on the plane was like 24. If you were 25, you were like old. And the survival rate of that stuff, of surviving in those planes, was like basically you're going to die. And so it's just crazy that people would, so it fascinates me, and it's such a good story. And it's, and again, especially with today's technology of how CGI and things like that, like you could feel, we could potentially get, never obviously the exact feeling of what those guys felt, but you could feel the epicness of like how scary that would be. I know I would have been wearing diapers, but I wasn't meant for that life. I was meant to play supernatural creatures on television. Okay, that's me.
We all have
you
a
do
purpose.
it well.
Yes, you do it very well. We all have a purpose. There's nothing wrong with that. So,
but yeah, so I wanted that to go so bad. You have a lot of those as an actor, things that almost happen, start to happen, don't, things like, and that was one that was, especially since we did the trailer, and the trailer, if you go, it's on my IMDb, it's pretty epic. And this was a while ago. So imagine what they could do with it now, like in CGI and things like that. And oh man, when I saw that trailer, I was like, I want to make this film so bad. And we were just waiting. And eventually, it was just like, I don't think it's happening. Heartbroken. You try not to get excited about projects as an actor, but when you film the trailer and you're involved in it and you see how cool it is, you're like, dude, this is awesome. How do they not want this? And then when they don't, you're just like, it's heartbreaking.
Well, it was amazing, and we definitely lost something, because that would have been pretty cool. That would have been just a cool project. Well, are there any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Sadly, listen, between COVID and then the strike, things were dead. It was rough out in the entertainment world for a while. The strike ended, and it goes right into holidays. And as you know, the holidays are just dead time. So sadly, I don't, we're all, like a lot of actors, we're hoping, once February is when really things start cooking, that hopefully there's a bunch of projects that are just greenlit, and it's back to auditioning and getting on the next show, and that everything's back open because there's no COVID regulations and the strike's over. And, so right now, sadly, no, I wish I did. But just like many actors, we're all just sitting here going, please, this is the year where everything explodes. There's nothing to hold us back. And there's tons of streaming services out there, and there's stuff that needs to be made. So we're all hoping, everyone, right? I have friends in all shapes and forms, lighting, sound, hair, makeup, things like that. We're all just getting ready for hoping it to explode. We'll see.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping our fingers crossed. We need more of you on our screens, and more jobs for everybody in general. So we look forward to whatever you do next, because it's going to be awesome. Yes. So I mean, this is like not even a question.
Well, after this, I might get the call for Barney. So I don't know.
Hey, our reach is very wide on the interweb net, so you never know. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about Teen Wolf and our amazing fans and amazing projects. This has been an absolute delight to reconnect over this show that we all love so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
All right, man. We'll see you next time,
guys.
Bye.
We had a great time talking with Ryan, but now it's back to spoilers.
I feel like you guys don't really commit to the whole mercenary thing for Brayden.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, she says in this episode she'd kill Scott for the right price point, but what we see from her as the season goes on doesn't really support that.
Yeah, footage not found on that sentiment being accurate.
Yeah, it's especially unfortunate because you don't get a lot of female mercenaries. I just thought that was a fun detail for her character.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe they felt like it would be too much to have so many characters. Well, I don't know about so many. I would say to have more than one, along with Malia, who just doesn't care about other people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also Peter, but I take offense to the assertion that there's any illusion as to him maybe being a good guy. I've never understood that when people are like, oh, but whose side is he on? I'm like, Peter's.
Yeah, his own side.
Yeah,
the side that he's been on consistently for the entire show. Peter's side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe they just thought it would be too much to have both her and Malia be characters who don't really care about others and have to grow to a point where they do.
It's possible.
What I thought was they wanted to make her Derek's love interest later, and they're like, oh, we can't actually have her be another murderer.
It's possible.
The problem is, though, I would assume, based on the piece of dialogue in this episode, that regardless of what happens in the season to come, she's killed somebody.
Yeah, but
she has to have killed people.
Undo it.
Because when we meet her, or when we get the reintroduction of her, when she comes and rescues Derek and Peter when they're tied up and all that, we hear a gunfight upstairs.
Mhm.
And like all these bullets, casings,
Yeah, but
rain
they're
come
like
down.
bad guys.
Yeah, well, that's still killing people. But I'm just saying, like, if based on what we know later in the show, she just shot them all in the arm or shot around their feet, like if she was part of the A-team or something, where they don't really kill people, they just kind of shoot around people and make their jeeps explode, but they're all fine, type of thing. So that kind of makes that incredible re-entrance lame.
I mean,
actually.
Okay, I will say though, what I mean by killing someone, I mean murdering someone for money, because coming in to rescue people who are being tortured and then just shooting back when you're being shot at during the course of the rescue doesn't have the cold-bloodedness that I feel like the dialogue in this episode intimates.
No, absolutely.
She's making it sound like I would kill someone for a price, and while we could get deeply into the ethics of murder in any context, or the ethics of killing in any context, there's still a lot of ethical space, a lot of ethical distance between killing someone for a price and just being like, I'm going to save these people being tortured, and if I get shot at, I will return fire.
Yes, right. Very true. Very true.
I love Megan Tandy, but I do feel like you guys did her a bit of a disservice just because I feel like her character is all over the place. Because, yeah, when we first get her, I mean, it seems like she's willing to die to get this message to Scott. And then she's like, wait, no. Now I'm saying that if the price was good, I just kill Scott. And then it's like, I don't know. It feels like it's just that she got paid the first time around enough that she was willing to die to try to protect Scott.
Sure.
Or get the message out there. That seems weird. And then, it just seems
I don't think
like
she was a mercenary at that time.
Well, that would be really interesting if she became one after the fact, because she was done with being a good guy. She was like, no, I just want to sell my services. That would be so cool.
My reconstructive surgery cost a lot of money.
I would love this idea that, like, typically you see someone have a brush with death and it gives them this new appreciation or respect for life. But for her, it had the exact opposite. And she's like, life is cheap. Fuck them all.
That would
be fun. But
and like, for Scott to ask her, like, what changed, and her like, basically, you guys had a bad effect on me. You think
that
you
would
make
be
life
so
better,
great.
but then I got caught up in your shit and it was awful.
Yeah. If when she's like, for the right price, I'd kill you. And Scott's like, would it be high? And she's like, no.
How much does a double cheeseburger cost at McDonald's these days?
More than it should, girlfriend. More than it should. These prices in this economy, Scott.
In this economy, Scott. Yeah. Kate, you mentioned this episode has distressingly little Tyler Hoechlin in it. But remember that this whole thing leads into the next episode where we get some great bits with Stiles and young Derek. It's dope.
True. That is worth it. That'll give us something to talk about.
It will.
Yeah.
I do love it. I feel like it's very short-lived because it's just the one episode really that he's young Derek. But I just think there's a lot more to learn about young Derek, and I think it would have been really interesting to see that.
Yeah.
I love Tyler Hoechlin, of course, but just a couple more episodes to give him a break while he was doing what it was that he was working on instead.
That baseball stash movie.
Everybody wants some.
Everybody wants some. Yeah. That movie that we watched 20 minutes of. We're like, this is terrible.
Don't say that.
I was there for that. Is that a Linklater film?
It is a Linklater film.
Yeah, well, there you go. I do think it would have been fun to have a little more time with him and get a better handle on who Derek was before the fire. I mean, I have my own personal headcanons and would feel very vindictive towards them having a couple episodes and then totally retconning what I was thinking Derek would be like pre-fire, but that's what fanfic is for.
Yeah.
So
it'd be great to see him like walking through the school and sees like their trophy case. He's like, y'all don't have basketball anymore? Because he was like, he's like, we know we do lacrosse now. He's like, what happened to the basketball team? They died. Or something. I don't know. Something happened.
It was the bus crash.
It was the bus crash of 2000. I don't know. I don't
know. Who knows how old anyone is?
I don't know what the timeline would be, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I was about to say 91, and I was like, no, that makes no sense, buddy. Much like the timeline.
Well, Peter and him were in high school at the same time, so who knows?
That is such nonsense. What
It
the
is
hell?
nonsense.
We've already talked about that.
Yeah,
I don't
we've
want to
talked
get
about that.
into
So-
that again.
But you know what isn't nonsense? The tease of the berserkers in this episode.
Yeah, it's great. I do love that aliens inspired sequence. It was a cool way to tease the berserkers because you get bits and pieces, the claws, the exoskeletal spine, but not the full picture. Not yet.
Yeah, it's great. Really good. These are some of they're my favorite henchmen, I think, because they're not like the villains of this season. You know,
They identify as goons.
they're my favorite goons, I think, of the entire series. Because other than like we don't really get a lot of goons. You know, we get hunters, you know, just kind of nameless, faceless hunters that we fuck up. But then, you know, and then we have like, you know, the Dread Doctors who are just 3 Dread Doctors, and they have Theo, who's a goon, I guess, but he has a lot more story going on.
Right.
But yeah, these are probably my favorite goons just because they look so fucking cool. And a great fun Teen Wolf version of a berserker. Like, I mean, you know, just taking like the idea and then just putting a different spin on it and stuff like that. So fun. A lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, which it wasn't the first time we've discussed berserkers because we have that conversation between Chris and Derek in the jail during 3B.
That's right.
Right.
It's fun to have something like that sprinkled in and then actually have it
Pay off.
come about.
Yeah. That was a great scene. Derek said he would totally never save him.
2
That
seconds
was
later.
so adorable.
And then
It
took
was like
every
2
single shard of
seconds
glass
later.
into his body to protect
Oh, honey.
to protect Chris Argent.
I mean, I think Derek also says something in season 1 about like, I'm not going to die for you to Scott.
Yeah.
You know, because Scott keeps wanting to go to the game and everything. He's like, I'm not going to let you expose our secret and stuff, which he does make an effort to prevent Scott from doing that. But maybe you absolutely would die for him. It's very clear. You make sincere attempts to do so.
Yeah.
On the show.
He really needs to start reinforcing his boundaries.
Or just having them.
They just get trampled all over.
Well, he says he has them, and then like
he says a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people talking about Derek talk a lot about how he doesn't understand boundaries, and that is accurate. I'm not disagreeing with that. However, it's a mutual thing because nobody respects his boundaries either. They throw a huge fucking rager in his home.
Yeah.
I mean, his first home that wasn't either a burned out husk or an abandoned subway station.
Oh yeah, remember that, kids?
Of course, apparently he's had money this entire time. He just chooses to live in punishable places.
Well, that's not a huge surprise, is it?
Yeah.
No.
I actually don't. I mean, we can get into this when it gets to it, but I don't like that the Hales are rich.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because there are too many times where you're like, why didn't you ever throw money at this problem? I don't like when partway through a story, characters get all these, or it's revealed that characters have had all these resources all along that they simply chose not to apply to the cause. And I'm like,
I wanted to fight this
why?
problem like the everyman. Shut up.
Ugh,
Write a
shut
check.
up.
Write a check
Yeah.
and we're done with this.
Derek says he's not his parents' money.
I guess if there ever were a situation where I would believe that someone wouldn't want to spend it, I suppose it would be the money you received from your murdered family. But still.
Well, it was like just insurance money, was it? It just seemed like they were already rich.
No, they're rich. They were rich.
I think that it was generational wealth.
Yeah, they didn't make that vault for the insurance money.
Shall I?
Shall you?
Shall.
That concludes this episode of Return to Beacon Hills. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did talking about all things Teen Wolf. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RTBH Podcast and Tumblr and TikTok at Return to Beacon Hills. If you'd like to ask us questions or offer suggestions for future topics to discuss, you can email us at returntobeaconhills@gmail.com. Join us here next time when we discuss Season 4, Episode 2, titled 117. Rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast goodness. 5-star reviews get a shout out. Have a great week, and we'll see you again soon on Return to Beacon Hills.
Dude, it's Beacon Hills.